You're listening to the first episode of the InsidersMind podcast, dedicated to helping small businesses set up, manage, and market their website and online presence. My name is Mitch Free. I own a small web design company in the Bay Area, and I had this idea to do this podcast for a long time, and I'm finally getting around to it. For those of you that don't know, a podcast is basically a radio show on the internet. And my goal with the Insider's Mind podcast is going to start with doing 2 episodes per month. And I'm going to bring on different experts and small business owners and talk to them about their strategies, the things that they've discovered that work and the things that don't work. And just basically have a real honest discussion, actionable discussion about things that you can do to market your website. Now, my own personal take after doing a few hundred websites is that a lot of the discussion about marketing online and the advertisers has really been somewhat hijacked, and I think Yelp and Facebook are certainly guilty of changing the dynamics of what's important. For small businesses, that's lead generation and generating a positive ROI for the money that you spend. Now, when someone convinces you that something like likes or engagement are important, they're really blurring the lines, and ultimately, I think it's very confusing. You ultimately cannot eat likes, you can't eat engagement, and that's not what we're after as small business owners marketing online. So if you're interested in efficiently getting more customers, growing your website into a real resource for marketing your business and providing better service, the Insider's Mind podcast is for you. So with that said, this is episode 1. I hope you enjoy listening. Please stick with us. We'll certainly get better right now. I know my voice is a bit nasally. If you can get through that, we're really going to go to some exciting places with the discussion. So thanks for listening, and here we go. So our first topic of discussion today is going to be about just marketing your website. At this point, if you don't have a site, I'm not going to be able to explain to you why you need one. So if you don't have a site, figure it out, get a website. But once you have a site, and we're assuming that that site does what you need it to do, we're assuming that it authentically represents your business and the product or services that you provide, and we're also assuming that it's set up for conversion. For some of you, these may be rather big assumptions, but if you don't have the basics of a website and that's set up to generate leads and educate customers effectively, then there's really no point in marketing it. So that's step 1. So like I said, we may be skipping past that vital, critical step for some people, and we'll get to that in future episodes. But for right now, we're going to assume you have all that, and your site's launched, it's live, it's brand new, or it gets very little traffic. What's next? It's a very common problem for small businesses. What is next after you get your new website? And I think that this is where the ball is dropped very often. So basically, building a website is a very small portion of marketing a website. You need to have a plan for generating traffic, and that is getting harder and harder. So I think that the first place that you start once you launch a new website is with your existing customers and clientele. If you don't have an email blast list of all your old leads, current customers, segmented and organized, you should get that. Like I can't describe to you why it is important to have that or the value in it, but put systems in place to grab emails from your customers. So just to point out an obvious real-world application of this, I have one client that owns a car wash. When people come in, they drop their car off, they come back, they pick it up, capture their email. If they're regular customers, they'll gladly give it to you if you incentivize them a little bit, some sort of $5 off, $10 off, free upgrade. But capturing that email and putting a system in place to capture everyone's email will pay for itself in spades down the line. It's much easier to market to your current customers than it is to find a new customer. So that's one place where you can truly take advantage of the tools that are out there, bring people back to your website, promote different specials or offerings, and get the word out there. So that's the easiest place that you can start once you've launched a new website to get the word out and get some traffic. So you have your authentic conversion focused website, you have your email list of customers and old leads. What's next? The next thing that you should look at, if you haven't already, is your online presence, specifically your reviews. So places like Yelp and Google My Business are the most important review sites at this time. There's tons of other review sites out there, but these are the ones that are going to pay the most dividends for getting and cultivating some good reviews. Google is Google. The reviews show up within organic search. Sometimes you'll see phone book style listings at the top for commercial searches. Like if you look for a Conquered web designer, which is what I am, you'll see 3 profiles pop up with addresses, links to website, and if they have 5 reviews or more, a star ranking. So getting some reviews on Google, it's Google, you're going to get your star ranking, and people are going to see it and check that. The other place that you'll want to get reviews, the bigger site, is Yelp. Yelp is a really sticky subject for a lot of people. Some people love it, some people hate it, and after talking to hundreds of small business owners, I'd say that most of us hate it. But that doesn't mean you can ignore it. It doesn't mean you need to pay them money or advertise, but you should at least set up a profile, add your information, logos, pictures, and cultivate some good reviews. If people hate Yelp, why is it important to be there? Well, the main reason is that people will look back at your Yelp page after they've already found you. For some businesses like restaurants, things like that, Yelp is critical. For most of us, it's not as critical, but you still need to be there because people are going to check it. And having some good reviews on there, it'll just make you look good. It'll make you look up to speed with business in 2016. And it'll also insulate you if you ever do get a bad review. So once you've built your site, you got your email list. Next up, you're going to want to look at your review profile. You're going to want to set up your Google listing, get some reviews. You're going to want to set up your Yelp and get some reviews. You have that email list at your disposal now, and if you know some people that are happy, or if you're comfortable sending it out to your entire list, which can be risky, you can go ahead and send out a blast telling people that you'd love a review if they're happy, and what that means to you, and if they're not happy, maybe to email you. But there's a lot of different ways you can go with that, getting reviews and cultivating reviews. Step 1 is just to talk to some people that you know are happy and ask them to do it. There's a ton of different nuances with online reviews that are also important. On Google, everyone has a Google account, and it's very easy for them to go and post a review of your business once you send them the link. Most people aren't going to need to create a new account and deal with all that. On Yelp, people that create new accounts are not regarded as highly as people that have older accounts with many reviews. If you find someone that's older, maybe they don't have a Yelp, they create one and give you a review, great. But that review may get filtered because Yelp does not view them as a knowledgeable person because they only have one review. It's lame. It's frustrating when you have a customer that's super happy and you know that they're happy and you know that they're a real review and you can point to the work that you've done, and Yelp filters the review. But it's part of doing business on the site. But at least once you know what's happening, if you have people that don't have Yelp accounts, you can direct them to Google, or you can maybe even ask them to submit a few other reviews before they submit the review for your business. I've had customers that left me reviews that were brand new, and I've instructed them to leave another review for maybe a restaurant, and I've watched the reviews pop back over from the unfiltered area. So I know that it has something to do with that. Of course, Yelp is the ultimate decider of all these things, and it's just something you can do. is just direct them to the right place if they aren't a Yelp user. So continuing on that discussion of online reviews, one of the things that often comes up is, hey, I can have my brother or my sister or my boyfriend review me. And you want to make sure to focus on reviews from people that you've done business with. If you want, you can work with people and even write it up for them or give them a couple options. But you really want to get away from like the gleaming, this is the best experience ever, blah, blah, blah. Like, just keep it real and authentic. Like, it just, the reviews will seem a lot more real and they'll be less likely to get filtered by Yelp. So while we're on the topic of Yelp, if you haven't set up a page before, or if you're going to log into your account and make some edits, the next thing that you should expect is a phone call from one of their sales reps. I wrote a blog about this recently, about my experience with a Yelp rep, a particularly rude Yelp rep. I've dealt with a lot of them over the years. Most of them I've been able to just kind of talk to and push along and tell them I'm not interested, but this guy just would not take no for an answer. And I think that Yelp, I don't want to call them the devil. This is all my personal opinion, but after talking with so many small business owners, that's the way a lot of people feel. And my personal belief is that you should not advertise with them. The people that are getting the most value out of Yelp are usually not advertising with them. They've probably been in business for 5+ years. They cultivated reviews very early on in the game, and now their listing is ranking organically within Google. Those are the people that are getting the value from Yelp. Their advertising program is not particularly friendly to small business. Ironically, restaurants, their biggest clientele and the reason why a lot of people go to Yelp, I can't see their advertising program being worth much for any restaurant that already has, good food and can afford to pay their advertising. Basically, the way that it works, they have a couple different plans based on how much you'll spend monthly. For every industry, from web design to restaurant, these packages are the exact same. The only thing that changes is the amount that you pay per click. So, for example, the entry-level Yelp program, last I talked to them, was around, I want to say like $350 per month. 100 of that was just a fee. The rest of it went to clicks. And for web design, these clicks were about $10 a piece. So for $260, $270 in clicks, my Yelp profile was going to get about 27 visitors. Not my website, my Yelp profile. So I have a serious problem with this. I explained it to the rep. I was a bit too sophisticated of a user for him, but he still thought he could sell it to me. In no world is 27 Yelp visitors worth much. 27 website visitors, now we're talking. 27 Yelp visitors, right off the top, I'm guessing that half are going to be my competitors looking at their web design profile on Yelp and seeing my ad and wondering why I'm there and wasting my budget. The Yelp rep said that there's no way this could happen, but I guarantee you this can happen. I see the other designers' ads pop up on my Yelp page, it pisses me off. So if you sign up for advertising, one of the things they offer is that the ads of your competitors will not be shown on your page. Personally, I don't find that valuable because I want people on my website, not my Yelp page. They'll call you, they'll push you. Don't sign up. Don't do it. I can point you to 5 different people, 5 of my clients, that will talk to you for an hour about Yelp if you want to talk to them. You can hit me up at bizdetail.com and I'll give you their information. But I would stay away. I would still create a Yelp profile. I would actively monitor it. I would actively cultivate reviews, but I would not advertise with them. So to bring it all back now, you got your professional conversion-focused website, you have your email list of customers, and then you have your online review profile set up, and you've cultivated some positive reviews. So if you want to get started with your marketing, you got a brand new site, those are the two places to go first. Get those pieces set up and then move on to what's next. This is the point where things get a bit more complicated and business specific. At this point, I'm going to progress it a little bit to a discussion about social networking, and ultimately bring things back to the core. So social networking, for the last, almost a decade now, 8 years, has been the catalyst for people really understanding they need to get their business online and they need to get involved in all these social networks. And it's really hard to even keep up with all the networks, even as a professional. Started with MySpace and Facebook, YouTube, progressing now to Snapchat, and it's the Wild West out there. And the early movers get a lot of credit. Ultimately, it all comes back to getting in front of your target audience, and that's different for every business. For some businesses, that may be getting a Facebook page going and building it organically, never buying likes or anything like that, but just building it up from the core. Maybe starting with your email list to send out a blast to have people like you on there. Putting together a regular blog column or a podcast even, or just a video blog, and actively sending it out and sharing it on Facebook, promoting it, and doing it organically. That may be one way to get in front of a target audience that you find valuable. For another business, like a B2B industry, posting on Facebook is probably worthless. It's really hard to find a targeted audience, like say you were selling some sort of IT service, trying to find the buyer in a company. It's very hard to target that person with these kind of spray and pray methods. A much better approach would be actually pulling these emails into some sort of list using maybe one of the automated resources out there, or doing it by hand and pulling these contacts into a spreadsheet, sending some really short, sweet, targeted emails, and following up with a phone call, the direct sales route. You can't expect your website to replace your sales force. Your website, and more importantly, organic listings, it's not a business model. It's a tool to be used in the process of selling and marketing. So develop your site to do what you need it to do. For a sales staff, that may be incorporating methods of automation for delivery of proposals and follow-up, for tracking, for capturing emails, but it's all about getting the word out to targeted customers. That may be through online advertising, it may be through offline advertising, but it's all about getting the word out, getting traffic to this tool that you've built. It's 2016, the web is sophisticated, so at the very least, you need to be online with an authentic conversion-focused site. You need to have a list together of your customers, of leads, and you need to have some good reviews. And from there, explore automation, get in front of your target audience. So that's where we're going to wrap this topic up for today for podcast 1. We'll talk more about these subjects in future episodes. I hope you enjoyed listening. This is episode 1, hopefully of many. So I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. This is Mitch Free and the Insider's Mind podcast.